Yeah. Cadence through the ceiling, it's the vibe you give and running through my heart. Music drives my feelings.
Hey everybody, what's going down? It's your girl Jay Renee. You know I always got something to say. And today, oh my gosh, we got a legend in the building, Mr. Isaac Yowman. How are you doing today, sir?
Good. I'm good. I'm
Okay.
sorry about
No, it's perfectly fine, perfectly fine. Tell me, what have you been up to? Because you are such a staple in the community, in the music world, in the entertainment world, period. But recently, you have partnered up with Andre Johnson, number 80, wonderful Houston Texan. And what have you all been up to?
Yeah, man. We did a really cool piece with the Houston Texans to celebrate Andre and his legacy. Um he is, undoubtedly a GOAT. Especially for the Houston Texans football fans. He's done a lot for the community as well. And so, I just wanted to make sure to do my part to make sure we showed up and made sure that, you know, visually we were able to tell a story that felt impactful, but also felt, celebratory of his Hall of Fame induction. Um, he's the first football player in Texas franchise history to go into the Hall of Fame. So it's a pretty big deal.
Now, being a director yourself, you got to tell me, what is the mindset going into creating these iconic stories and making sure you stay as close to the script as possible?
Um, for this particular one, it was more so just like making sure it felt, celebratory, um, making sure that it felt like, we had a lot of the Houston legends pull up, Lil Kiki, Lil Flip, Zero, Propane, Slim Thug. And then we also had some of, AJ's previous players when he played, I know T. Johnson and some more guys. So, it was really dope being able to show that other people are showing up for Dre, and understand how iconic this whole moment is. And it's always dope when you write a script and you see a piece of ideology that you had on a deck turn into reality. So, I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm super honored to kind of spearhead this mission, and I'm excited for Andre, man. It's a big deal, and he's a super humble, deserving guy. Really down to earth, so he deserves everything that's coming his way.
How did you all get the meeting started? Like, what got the ball rolling?
Uh, Man, I gotta salute to my bro Maurice Elrod. He really initiated the conversation. Um, he's a brand director at the Texans, and he reached out and was like, "Yo, I want to do this piece for Andre, and there's nobody else I want to have do it than you and your IO team." So that was big, man, and he really believed in me, trusted in me, so much so he said multiple times on set, he was like, we would be filming something. He'd be like, I don't even want to see it. Like, he'll just step away. Like, man, you got it. I trust you. And when you got, people behind you like that that really trust you visually, that's appreciated. The Texans, you know, met with every single department and showcased the idea in a big roundtable meeting alongside Andre. So, it was real. Everybody, in the organization kind of signed off on it, and most importantly, Dre signed off on it because we're talking about his life and sharing moments to celebrate him. So yeah, I mean, everybody was with it. And, when you're working with a bigger organization, and you got to go through, um, you know, all of the proper channels, and so sometimes it takes a bit longer than planned. But man, we got it done, and we completed the project, and it's been well received. And I feel like all of the hard work, effort, and energy and diligence on the IO side, on the Texas side, even Andre showing up, in every facet we needed him to make sure that the piece turned out dope. It was a undoubtedly a team effort for sure. So many nuances to that piece for sure.
Now, what's the process when getting various characters in order to, like, for instance, I know in your previous films, and especially with the DJ Screw film that you've done before, the actor was so closely like it, the actor looked like him. So you have to tell me that extensive process and making sure you're like, okay, we're just not getting the detail of the script, but we're getting the characters as well. We're making sure we're hitting all the key points of this person's life.
Yeah, that's funny because on the Andre Johnson piece that we did, the first opening shot is a shot where it's a guy like holding his arms out, kind of almost in a Y shape, holding the NFL ball. That's not Andre. That's a double. And so, Andre wasn't available that day, but that was the only day that we had access to the field. They were flipping the whole stadium for a soccer game. And so, yeah, that's not even Andre. So that just, we really, I gotta shout out to Jessica Davis. She's my first AD. And in the clutch, she always look out, and is great at, pulling casting options. So Gerald Brown is actually the stunt double. So anytime you actually see quote unquote AJ on the field, running or with a helmet on or with a jersey, that wasn't Andre. So
Well, it's I'm just like, man, because you know how to pick great actors. You do. You do. And
appreciate it.
and I want to tap into your creativity as far as how did you know that this was your path? Like this was your purpose.
Um, man, I always just been a creative, always been you know, very, very detailed when it came to visual aesthetics. Um, I mean, even before I started picking up a camera per se, like I worked inside of Photoshop. I understood Photoshop. Before then, I could even just remember as a kid being on like Microsoft Paint. You know what I mean? Like and like always, you know, art class, always doing the most. You know what I mean? I always wanted to make sure like I had the extra shades in on my characters, when it wasn't necessarily called for or asked for. So I think my meticulousness, if that's even a word, and attention to detail is, honestly what has made my career thrive. Um, I'm just extremely detailed. I was just got off of the film. Close friend of mine, Patrick Walker. We've been doing this for, over 20 years. And Emmy nominated actor. And he just told me this today. He said, man, you are the most detailed, meticulous director I've ever worked with. So that let me know that I don't, somebody else said it without me saying it. And so I know, it's a gift and a curse though, because sometimes I'll go back and fix these little things that are so minor, you know what I mean, and kind of get into probably a little ADHD, ADHD-ish, but and it's just part of who I am. And I'm like that in all facets of life, though. You know what I mean? If you ask my girl, if you ask my mother, like all the things I do in my regular life for them and all of my loved ones, I'm detail oriented. So I think that just shows up in my work. And I will say I got a, Full Sail University really helped make me have that organized, detail oriented mind frame. If there's anything that I got from my college experience, it was that I always kind of been like it's a visuals, but the detail oriented organization and meticulousness. I'm gonna just say that's a word. Is definitely was rooted in Full Sail.
Talk to me about directing your first film and what were those emotions like?
Man, my first film was 10 years ago, came out 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, actually. I think it came out in 2013. Um, I was just happy to finish something. Looking back at it, it's definitely not my best work, definitely not my best writing. But I think for the time, it was, it was dope. You know what I mean? I think my first film was called A Holy Spoof, and featured Paul Wall was in it, Yachty, Jakey Smooth, and just a lot of my close homies. You know what I mean? Phil Wade was a star in it, and I think the moment that I was the most proudest about my first film was when we did our first screening. It was at Edwards Theater, Greenway Plaza, and I pulled up, and they had, I got a picture of this somewhere. They had the Holy Spoof on the outside of the building, like where they show all the movie names. It was like big, and it's like LED thing. I was like, yo, like my movie really at a theater. But then what made it crazy was that when I walked in, it was like a line out the door. And I was like, all right, it's a few people that believe it. You know what I mean? And the general manager at that time at Edward said, man, we haven't had this many people here since we did a Kevin Hart screening. It wasn't even this many. And so that made me feel really good as a first-time filmmaker, just getting into the finish line. And I would say that to any filmmaker, like, just get to the finish line. If it's your first film, your second film, just do it. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, no matter how you look at it, every film you're gonna go back and look back and be like, man, that could have been better. Like, I look back at films that I did 2 years ago, and I'm like, I could have did that a million times better. I could have told that story better. I could have made it flow better. So it's never gonna be perfect, and if you're not growing, you pause it. So I don't think that anybody wants to be on a plateau trajectory. So as long as you keep growing and wanting more, you'll get better. And so I just think that's just, it's just my work right now is just a reflection of the amount of time and effort I put into them.
One thing I definitely got to commend you is within your films, you always include people from the city. Talk to me about how important that is to not only put your city on, even though Houston, is on, but forwarding that, as well as, reaching back and putting the people that or giving people chances from the city to be in major films.
Yeah, I mean it's in the ethos of our company, IO. It's just, you know what I mean? It's part of me, and I pour it into everybody that's around me, any and all people that's a part of our organization. That's what we believe in. That's what we believe in as a collective is, the art of reciprocity. You know what I mean? And just making sure we continue to like build our tribe. And yeah, I mean it's just part of who I am. You know what I mean? I just did a film in LA, just got back in town less than 24 hours ago, and I made it an intentional effort to make sure that I casted somebody in front of the camera that was from Houston, and I made sure that I had crew behind the camera that was from Texas. And so, I flew people out just because I just want to make sure that, I've been I've been kind of passed this torch to like, and I've been told by so many multiple people from not just in Texas, outside of Texas, globally. I've had the opportunity to like film all around the world, from Africa to Paris to, you know what I mean, Sydney, Australia. Like I've had a crazy opportunity. And so like so many people have told me from multiple places like, yo, you that guy, you gotta carry the torch and, bridge the gap between Houston and, what people identify as more major markets. And so like at first, I always been about community and wanting to help people, but that was just part of who I was. But now I took taking ownership in the ideology that I gotta do my part. You know what I mean? And so like the past, I would say 4 to 5 years, I've really been like being real intentional about bringing as many people on this journey with me as I can. Um, and just doing my part and opening up doors and hopefully, providing opportunities for people that they may not have otherwise got.
Talk to me about IO and if those are acronyms, break it down for me. And especially the growth from its previous years to now.
Yep, IO, illuminate your optics. Uh, illuminate obviously being a shine bright. We talking about film projection and LUTs and lumens and illumination. And so then I always think of like the bulb, you know what I mean? Like illumination. And when you think about that, it's like that idea. It's always an idea. Um, and then wise, your, and always optics, you know what I'm saying? Self-explanatory, you know what I mean? Optics is what you see, whether that's visual, moving, still, it's just anything, you know what I mean, that you utilize your eyes to see from design. And so yeah, that's kind of the core basics. But one of the mottos that we stand by, seize, create, and share. All of our merch has it. All of our company shirts have it on the sleeve. And it's seize, create, and share. It's seize opportunities, create opportunities, but most importantly, it's synonymous to your last question, share opportunities, right? Like you can get them and you can create opportunities, but if you're not sharing them, in my mind, they're pointless. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
Yeah.
to be, but I feel like in any and all things, when two or more gather, you know what I mean? You're gonna come up with something that's much more, substantial. And so, man, I'm all about collaboration, teamwork, and everybody, pitching in to make something bigger, grander, and broader, and get more eyes on it.
What would Isaac Yowman today say to young Isaac growing up?
Um, Create your own path. Um, I think for so long, and I think a lot of creatives, um, you know, chase this. I'm not saying nothing is wrong with it because I know that I have been a vessel for so many other creatives. But
Hmm.
I think that a lot of creatives' whole mission is chasing this thing to be around said person. Or if I get to this person, or I get to this network, or I get to this brand, or I get to this, or I get to this, then I'll be good. And then, for myself, when I got to that brand or I got to that person, it wasn't nothing was different. And so, I understood that, you know, create your own path um is vital. And sometimes, you know, uh, one of the things that I live and stand by, and I literally just posted it on my threads, is forever a student, forever a servant, right? So I don't have any tattoos, but if I ever got one, that's what it would be. Uh, because I'm forever a student. I'm always learning, whether you're older than me, younger than me, we work together, we have it. I'm always soaking up game and always trying to better myself. Um, so I'm always a student, you know what I mean? But I'm also always forever a servant. You know what I mean? Like I know that my purpose here is to serve and make people look and sound better. That's the gifts that God gave me. It's the easiest way to explain it. I wear a whole bunch of hats, but I know that my gift is to make others look and sound better, whether that's musically, whether that's visually. And I'm meant to be behind the camera, uh, behind the pen, behind the keyboard, behind, you know what I mean, so with others. And so I think And I'm saying all that to say to make it make sense. It's like you can want to like work with somebody, but also understand like working with them. Everybody is serving somebody, right? And so like we should all be serving each other and be useful to one another. People always, talk about, man, I always feel like I'm getting used and they make that like a bad thing. If you're not getting used, that's that's the bad part. You know what I mean? You should want to be a vessel. You should want to serve. You should want to be, you know what I mean? Let people be able to use you and your gifts to further whatever said mission is, and vice versa. You know what I mean? And so I think it's all about perspective and how you portray and perceive words and thoughts. Because I mean, man, the world is all about yin and yang. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. In every big piece of light, there's a little darkness, and the deepest darkness is always a little bit of light. And so that goes with every single way. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like I just turned into a whole philosopher for a moment.
Hey, I love it. I love it. Like you said, I learned from everyone, and I'm learning that you and Andre are literally one of the same people because, growing up watching him play, we all thought he was an NFL player. Like, okay, this is what he do. But behind the scenes, it's like he's an entrepreneur. He helped the community. He helped the Texans thrive within the community. He put others forward. And I remember I had a family member because he would go to Toys R Us all the time when it was up the street. And he would purchase so many gifts and people would be like, wait, like at first they'll be skeptical and it's like, no, he's doing this out the kindness of his heart. Just like how, you put your heart within the film and it's like we could see that and we can relate to that. And it translates to something beautiful and iconic and something worth like for a lifetime.
Sure. I appreciate it.
Oh, most definitely. You got to tell me, what can we expect from the film, as well as where would we be able to see the film?
Yeah, so it's a short piece. It's right now you can check it out on the Houston Texans page on their Instagram and YouTube, to my knowledge. I also have a few like special moments on my personal Instagram at Chill Vibe, so definitely can check that out. It's also on Andre's team page, Team 80. So yeah, it's on the internets.
And for anyone that wants to reach you, where can they reach you?
Our company is IO Collective, so our website is IOcollective.com. IO is an IYO. And our company page is IO Collective. So everything is IO Collective. My personal stuff is Chill Vibes. Just how it's spelled, just how it sounds.
I want to thank you so much for coming on the Talk With Me podcast and allowing me just to even interview you. Thank you for taking out the time and everything.
Listen, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. That was it for the Talk With Me podcast. Once again, you can at Chill Vibes, Mr. Yowman. Look, you need to go check out all his films, especially the recent one with Andre. I would say Andre the Giant. Technically, he was a giant because he definitely made the Houston Texans stick out. But y'all youngers, y'all know about that. But thank you once again, and man, peace and blessings, and keep going, man, for real.
You too. You have a blessed day.
You as well.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It's your girl Jay Renee. You know I've got something to say. Bringing you new episodes and new guests on your Talk With Me podcast exclusively on YouTube. Like, share, and of course subscribe. And follow us on IG too. All right, y'all. Bye.